Let's go to the playoffs real quick. I know this has been really long, but we like talking about this stuff, and hopefully you like listening to it somewhat. Let's go with the AFC playoffs first. My 1 seed is New England. My 2 seed is Houston. Those are the byes. My 3 seed will be Pittsburgh. 4 seed is Denver. The 4-seeded Denver Broncos will host the Baltimore Ravens in the wild card round, and the Pittsburgh Steelers will host the San Diego Chargers. So the teams barely missing the playoffs in the AFC are the New York Jets and the Tennessee Titans, and I guess the Oakland Raiders. But the New York Jets is the main one. I have Baltimore beating Denver in the first round. I have the Steelers beating San Diego. Then I have Pittsburgh and Houston. I actually have Pittsburgh beating Houston, so I have a lot more faith in Pittsburgh for some reason than you do. I have New England beating the Ravens, and then Pittsburgh has never fared well against New England. I actually have New England repeating as AFC champions and continuing the trend that will make 10 straight years, I believe, that either New England, Pittsburgh, or Indianapolis has represented the AFC in the Super Bowl.
All right, and I have Houston as my 1 seed in that bad division, beating up on them. New England at the 2 seed, and then I have Baltimore at 3, Denver at 4, the Jets at 5, and the Bengals at 6. I hope that goes along with the records I had kind of predicted before. Mm-hmm. But I have, let's see here, the Jets beating Denver in the first round, and I have the Ravens beating the Bengals, Houston beating the New York Jets, the Patriots beating the Ravens, and then I have Houston beating the Patriots to go on to the Super Bowl. I just feel like if Schaub plays decent, like I said, I think that pass rush coming at Brady is enough to throw him off.
Sure.
And have one of those games where he kind of looks timid sometimes against the pass rush, like in the Super Bowl against the Giants both times. I think they're good enough to do that. So I think in a weak AFC, I think Houston's my pick this year.
Okay, yeah, it's solid reasoning there. It certainly could happen. Maybe I just don't have the guts to not pick New England at this point. Let's go to the NFC now. 1 seed, I have the Green Bay Packers. At the 2 seed, I have the San Francisco 49ers. At 3, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. At 4, I have the Atlanta Falcons. The 5 seed at the Falcons in the first round is the Chicago Bears. And then at the Philadelphia Eagles is the New York Football Giants as a 6 seed. In the first round, I have Chicago beating the Falcons to continue Matt Ryan's phenomenal playoff record. The Philadelphia Eagles beating the New York Giants at home. The second round, Packers-Bears, which I stared at this for a while today. I think the Packers would beat the Bears. I think it would be an ugly, ugly game similar to the NFC Championship game. I think the Packers beat the Bears. I don't trust Jay Cutler in the playoffs, especially the Packers just seem to, as bad as their defense was last year, they played probably their best game of the year against the good teams last year was probably against Chicago at Soldier Field. So I think the Packers can slow them down. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles actually are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers out in Candlestick. And then in the NFC Championship game, Packers-Eagles. If this actually happens, I am going to probably not sleep that week because this matchup scares me to death. Of all the games in 2010, I'm still somewhat shocked that the Green Bay Packers actually won in Lincoln Financial Field. This time it will be at Lambeau, so I think the Green Bay Packers move on to Super Bowl 47.
All right, and I have Packers at 1. I have Falcons at 2. 49ers at 3. Giants at 4, winning the East. Bears at 5. Eagles at 6. So I have New Orleans just barely missing the playoffs. I have Eagles over 49ers in the first matchup, and Bears over Giants in the wild card round as well. I have Falcons over Bears, which this was a tough one for me. I just think it's about time the Falcons make a step. I think they take out the Bears there. And I have the Packers-Eagles here. So the same thing you said, this was a tough one for me, and mostly because that 2010 wildcard game was a tough one. I feel like the Eagles are better now. Maybe we aren't quite as deep, but I still am going to pick the Packers here to win that game in Lambeau is one of the big reasons there. And then I have Packers over Falcons in the NFC Championship game. So that lands me with Packers in Houston. Tough one here, but I think the Packers would pull it out in the Super Bowl then over Houston.
Okay, I didn't share my Super Bowl pick of Packers, Patriots. I had a rematch of Super Bowl 31. The Super Bowl that it feels like has almost happened 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years. So I think here it finally does. Very conservative pick, obviously. Yeah, go out on a limb and pick Packers Patriots as the Super Bowl. This matchup again scares me. I feel like Tom Brady would torch our defense quite easily, but I don't think their defense would have a prayer against our offense. I think the Packers win that game. So call us homers, I guess, but we both picked the Packers to win the Super Bowl. I can't say I would bet a lot of money on it, but I feel like if they play up to their potential, if all things equal, if every team in the NFL stays healthy and they all play up to their potential, the Packers are the best team, is basically what I'm saying.
I agree there, and I haven't seen a whole lot of the national sports guys picks, but I agree. I think they're the most complete, maybe not the most complete, but at least the most talented team. And I think the defense will turn it around a little bit. I'm not completely sold on them winning the Super Bowl, but to me, it's who else really? Who else do I feel comfortable saying is going to win the Super Bowl? And to me, they're far and away the best team. So there could be injuries, things could happen. This defense could be even worse than last year, God forbid. But I just think that they are the best team. So, like I said, who else is going to take it? And I really think that they're going to win another one this year.
Well, I certainly hope we're both right. It's one of those things. It might be the hardest trophy to capture in professional sports. We'll see. Hopefully the Packers can put it all together and make it number 14 for Titletown.